All right, we are recording, gentlemen, here for episode 16. This is a grocery store episode, and we are going to have a few special guests here. We got Jasper Smith, who I will make the caveat was late. So I think should we make him do 15 push-ups or something? Like, because he was 15 minutes
Sure.
He has to chug his bottle.
All right.
late.
Not that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we have Steve Morgan with us as well.
It's a whole different finish that way, Seggy.
And
So
start.
different.
And as always, David Britt's here in Los Angeles, and we've got Mr. David Roberts.
Coming to you from Chicago.
Seggy show in Detroit.
With an empty
Glass.
Touche.
Freshly emptied, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
No, I haven't poured yet. I like to do the first pour on record
Of this bottle, I meant.
of this bottle. Yeah.
True. I told Sarah it might be a rosé kind of day, so I think we've got a couple bottles in the freezer.
Beautiful.
So beautiful.
I haven't
today.
started today. Jamie iced me twice last night, so
Oh.
I haven't
Wait,
started yet
you
today
have,
because
you have ice on hand at home?
yes, we do because we were in an ice battle with some friends, and we just had to have it on hand. And you can only buy it in the form of a 6-pack.
God.
That's the smallest amount you could buy it in. So I pray to God that Jasper's okay, and that also nice.
Jasper, you own that?
Why? A case.
So we bought it with the intention of like leaving it on friends' doorsteps, just like being the worst kind of Santa Claus during this quarantine. But I think we've only gotten through 2, so I'm still sitting on 10 Smirnoff Ices on my house.
Yeah.
Now you're just enjoying the flavor.
Take a minute and turn off the keyboard.
Who's at a sound check right now?
No, sorry, my kids are playing piano downstairs.
Oh, okay.
We're already in quarantine. Just icing people on top of it is just plain wrong.
Yeah, getting iced by your wife twice within like a half hour. I was like, come on, man.
I know. Are you guys on speaking terms today? Like,
Yeah.
it's heavy stuff.
Yeah. All right. So what are we drinking today, boys?
Shall we
Well,
pour?
we're divided today. So Seggy and I are drinking the same vintage, which is the Decoy Pinot 17 from Sonoma. And
That's
then
what we were supposed to get, but we couldn't find it. So I think the rest of us have just the regular Decoy 2018. So we'll talk about. It's probably very similar, but the three of us can compare and contrast, and Fritz and Siggy can also compare and contrast. When I poured it, we talked about this a little bit as we were waiting for Jasper. That it might be that that I'm in the sunlight. It might be just that it's a very, very light Pinot, which you would expect Pinot. This one is so light, though. It's almost got the look of like a black cherry or a cherry Kool-Aid. I don't know if you can kind of see that through here or not, but it is very, very light in color.
Yeah, this one is too. The Sonoma one, really, really light.
and for
Your nose in there.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna start talking about the nose, but if you wanted to.
I was just going to remind everybody about what the grocery store episodes are.
Oh yeah.
We didn't hit that from the top because,
Point.
we are fortunate to have friends in the wine business who make great wine and all sorts of price points. Some are on the expensive side, some are on the more reasonably priced side. But as we know, we've got people who are watching these episodes who are at varying levels of enjoying wine. We wanted to make sure that we could put out episodes that offered our viewpoints on wines that anyone could get anywhere and that would be at reasonable price points. So
Yeah,
That's-
to that point, I think I found this one at Target. It was marked, I think, $19.99, but I think it was on sale for like 16 or something like that.
Generally, I think that's what we all paid in that, kind of $18 to $23 range in varying markets.
Yep.
So I think, that's what this thing's all about. And obviously bringing Jasper and Steve on to add some additional color commentary. I think
And to drink wine and hang out.
that too.
I started to say, I'm letting you know my experience with wine is of the boxed variety, and like that slim to none. So I'm here just for purely education today, and to join in the conversation with you guys.
All of Jasper's comparisons will be to Busch Light.
This is way darker. First of all,
I get way
Right
less
up-
cardboard on this.
Right off the top, this can is shaped oddly. I couldn't open it the way I normally do with my teeth. But all right, so what are you guys smelling, Steve-O? I feel like you're very well suited to speak to these things. You have a lot of experience with just myriad of spices and foods and fruits. I feel like this is like right up your alley, identifying different scents on the nose.
Yeah, the power of suggestion always helps. Before we started, Dave, Brits, you had a good start. I'm gonna let you start off because now that you've suggested that, I can't not smell it.
Yeah. So I was getting a really strong strawberry note, but not fresh strawberries, more like sugary strawberry candy. I'm also getting some white pepper on this. Also getting a little bit of almost like a popcorn note I'm getting too. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at on this. And I've had it in the glass now for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think I get a lot of earthiness on mine. Less fruit right away. For me, I get just a bunch of sort of. It's not necessarily a wet trail like we were talking about with Pete. It's more of a dry, like a barn sort of floor, almost dusty. But that sort of earthiness. Maybe a little bit of that white pepper. And then just a hint of that strawberry in there. But for me, it's mostly that earthiness.
I'm getting a lot of that earthiness too. I'm getting like some sort of like citrusy hint when I go like just real full deep breath in there. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's some kind of citrus that's mixing in with that earthiness, with that dirt and like wet rocks at a lake, like, I don't know. Anyone else?
but it's almost like a citrusy like rind, almost like not the actual like fruit itself.
Yeah, it's like a little bitter, a little bitter. Yeah,
Exactly
that's
right.
a good call.
Are you getting, Segi, are you getting any almost like a mulch smell?
Yeah, that's that
Mhm.
earthiness.
That's
Like
that earthy. It's that dry.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, mulch good call. What do you think, Steve? You coming back to it at all?
Yeah, I smell all this. It's like if I just kind of dip the nose in the top, that's when you get the strawberry. If you go deeper, it's when you get the mulchiness.
Oh yeah, totally. Top of the glass will get more strawberry.
Yep.
Nice.
And another thing to, obviously swirl, get some air into the glass and then just dig that nose all the way in. And
Like a pig rooting for truffles.
So, question for you guys: Did you guys open this bottle? How long ago did you open this bottle?
I opened this bottle, I think about 10 till. So about half hour-ish ago.
Okay. Because I opened it right as I ran in the door, being late. But I also used an aerator, like a pour-through aerator. So I don't know if that makes. I have no idea if that makes a difference or is anything equivalent to opening it up and letting it breathe, or
It
Basically
just
the
kind of
same as
speeds up this process.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you, do you use that for your Busch Light too? Or is that do you just keep that around the house for wine?
He's got
It's
a beer
only
bong
it's
for
only
that.
It's only for wine and Malort.
Well, I imagine that would really help a box wine. When
Yeah.
you pour it out of the box wine, do you have to have somebody hold the cup so that it can go through the aerator?
No, you just straight in.
Straight
It's
in.
Yeah.
Well, then the
It's
aerator
a
would be
3-hand
flush.
process. Yeah.
You must be flexible.
Just a whole lot of slap the bag.
That's right.
Have you guys taken sips yet?
No, I think that's next.
Out to right now.
My initial sip was still pretty heavy on the alcohol, despite it being open for a little bit. But I think I'm ready to come back here to it. Yeah, I mean it's light.
Really
Right.
light.
Yeah.
I almost
A
got
little
like a
tart.
honey first impression of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I can see that on the finish.
Light. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Medium body. Definitely got the earthiness on that first sip. Minerality. You're getting something that's almost like a I don't know, copper, like some sort of, I don't know, something minerally.
Tastes like juice. It's,
Yeah, so
It's
this
just-
one's pretty light. What are you tasting?
Yeah, it's so light. It's almost kind of effervescent on the tongue. I feel like just I'm getting the earthiness. I'm not getting as much of the I don't know. Yeah, it's grapey.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, to your point,
absolutely right.
it's very fresh. I mean, it's 2018, so it's pretty young.
14.1 on the alcohol. So, I'm definitely getting a finish with a little bit of alcohol on it. So I'm feeling that.
I can see that. I can see the. I think the first impression was that honey kind of thing, but like I think the more sips that I take, I think that more minerality is like setting it. It's like almost like settling a little bit the more sips you take.
Yeah, and it will, right? Particularly some of the smaller the smaller production wines that we've been really fortunate to taste with their winemakers. They'll have an evolution, right? You can open it, taste it, and it'll be different 5 minutes later, and it'll be different 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
So you'll probably experience that even with the Decoy a little bit, right? My first sip was sort of really high alcohol, a lot of that earthiness, a little bit tart. But now, as it's opened up a little more, it's still very, very light, subtle sweetness. A lot of that just real young grape.
I feel like I get a little more acid on the upper palate now, second and third.
yeah.
Like a little more bite to it.
Just just a little more brightness, I think, too.
It's certainly
Because
not going
the first
to.
one was definitely alcohol.
That's
The first sip, I agree. The first sip was very much like the alcohol was forward. And mellow. It seemed to mellow out a little bit.
It's mellowing out a lot, yeah.
It's certainly not going to overpower anything you may eat with it. I mean, it's for me as someone who primarily drinks cabs. It's like water. It's very light, not very bold. Flavor wise, it's kind of just even, and I don't know. There's not a lot of complexity in it. I don't get a lot of the fruit when I drink it. I get the earthiness, and I get, like Jasper was saying, the honey on the finish. But I don't really get a lot of that strawberry.
But I could see this really pairing well with like a cod or sea bass, a nice buttery fish. I think that it'd be pretty nice with that.
Yes, something that's going to be a little bit lighter, any of that lighter fare, right? You said cod, right, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking too. Or even like a lemon chicken.
Yeah.
You can do a grilled chicken with this. Or you can just pop this and have this be your starter wine, and then move to something heavier with when you get some food going.
Unless you're going rosé, because as we talked about earlier, starter wine this time of year is is rosé or a nice crisp Sauvignon Blanc
Or some bubbles.
or some bubbles. Yeah.
Now, Brits, when you start with rosé, do you like to do rosé then slay?
Oh, yeah.
God, I hate those shirts.
Yeah. Thankfully, none of us, as far as I know, own any of that.
What it was
Just rosé, then stay all day.
I mean, I subscribe to the theory. I just don't want to put it on my shirt.
That's why I got this tattoo.
Just right under his shirt, just where it would be.
Because I can't wear the shirt every day.
Take off to wash. I gotta wash it this way.
We'll be following this up with some rosé. Or Phase 3 just released some more beer that I got a couple cans of that. So maybe I'll do some of their hoppy IPAs.
There you go.
I feel like it's a rosé kind of a day.
What's the weather there?
It's probably 70 degrees.
Nice.
Partly cloudy. But yeah, I'm outside. I got shorts on. Just mowed the lawn. Enjoying it. Boys are making some noise back here. I'm excited to be outside.
What about you?
We're going to set up our get the winter protection off of our outdoor seating gear.
Oh, nice.
Enjoy the afternoon.
There you go.
Nice little Saturday.
Like a plan.
Cool, DR. I'll be over later.
6 feet. 6 feet, Jasper.
What's that?
Stay home, Jasper.
6 feet.
6 feet. So I've got this privacy fence over here on the side of our house over here, and I actually made kind of like what do they call it? One of those farm doors that has the 2 tiers. I cut off part of it so I can take it off and put it down, and still interact with people, but from a distance.
Attaboy.
So you're like Wilson from Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you have a plexiglass insert you can put there now?
They just slide right over.
So how would you guys, Brits and DR, how would you guys compare this to the La Crema? For me, if I'm going to a dinner party or just someone's having people over, in 50 years when that happens again, and you need to bring something, I'd probably grab the La Crema before I was grabbing this. Personally,
the Dow?
I think that the La Crema Pinot that we did.
We did Dow. We did the grocery store with Dow. Did we do La Crema?
Yeah, we did La Crema too.
Okay.
We've done 2. I feel like the La Crema has just more. I don't know. There's more going on with that Pinot. I mean, this is fine. It's not bad. This is not a bad wine. This is not. I wouldn't drink it and be like, oh, no thanks. But if I'm, right. But if you're trying to, impress some people or just, want to make people a little bit happier, I would spend the extra couple bucks because I think the La Crema was like 24 or 25 bucks. I think it's worth spending that extra couple dollars to get the more complex wine, something that's going to have a little more personality, more of a flavor profile. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some more smaller production Pinots that you can get. You might not get it at $19, but you might get it at 25, buying them direct from the winery. And you would get a more dynamic wine. There's a time and place for Decoy. When we're on the road and we're looking for sort of just solid, go-to sort of wine that you can get everywhere. I'm picking up a Decoy just because they're sort of everywhere. And if you're going to a place that doesn't have a wide selection, it has a consistency that you can sort of bank on. But I think if you're sitting at home and you're saying, hey, listen, am I going to spend my 25 bucks on a Decoy wine, or can I pick up something out of Sonoma, or Russian River from a small producer at the same price? I would go that direction. I would go the small producer.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think for the price here, I would much rather go with a Sonoma small production. If you're at the grocery store and you're in a hurry and you're grabbing some stuff for dinner and you see it, grab it. It's drinkable, right? I'm not saying we're throwing it away, but I think for the price, I'd rather spend a couple more bucks and get something like you said, Bro.
I'm a La Crema fan. Is that out of Monterey?
I think we did the Sonoma.
Sonoma, okay. I would agree with Segi though. In general, my experience with that, I've enjoyed La Crema for a number of years. Definitely a little more complex. This is a little more one note. I feel like just
yeah, on a
hot
summer day, if you don't have a rosé or one of the bubbles that we were talking about, it's you want to pop this in the freezer to cool it down, chill it down a little bit, and have a nice cold glass. I think this would be great on a hot day.
Yeah.
So, I
think you make a good point there. I think this would be really good at about 55, 60 degrees. As
almost like a Beaujolais,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so drinking it at room temperature is probably not doing the best service of it.
That's a great call, Say. It is very much like a Beaujolais, right? It kind of has that. It's lining up very similar to that, in my opinion.
Did you guys pick up on Steve's subtle diss there? I don't know.
Well, drinking it at room temperature isn't.
No. His one note comment. He basically called.
That's not where I was going.
Ashing a bunch of baritones. I see how it is.
I was gonna say he's basically calling it the baritone of wine.
Great name for it too, Decoy.
So I have a question for you guys as aficionados, more so than I am. So Segi, from what you're saying, like cabs have a really full, like bold flavor, right? So if you're going for a cab with dinner, are you adding that as a flavorful addition to the meal? Like, are you counting the wine that you drink as a part of the meal? Because I don't always consider it as I know there are pairings and things like that, but
it all depends. Me personally,
I fully consider
I think I'm with you on this. I think there are certainly instances like when you're going out to dinner and stuff, when you're like, all right, well, I know I'm getting a bone-in fillet, so I want to get a nice big cab, really tannic, whatever, to pair with the fats. But generally, I just drink the wines I like. I don't really necessarily think too hard about how it's going to interact with the food. I know that there is crazy science behind it, and obviously different wines bring out like crazy different flavors and all sorts of different dishes. But at home, generally, I'll just grab a bottle of something, and something I know both Jamie and I like, and it's almost its own thing rather than, okay, this is going to complement the meal. I kind of view it as like just its own thing,
Sure.
But I do think there's, a time and place for the other thinking, which is like, okay, well, in creating my menu, I really have to think hard about the wine for each step of the way, like you go to a fancy restaurant and if you pay whatever the fee is for the wine pairings, it's really, really fun and interesting to listen to the sommelier talk about why they pair each wine with each dish. Like, it's really, really cool. And like Steve, that'd be your jam, right? Because you're basically a chef and you're really experienced in the kitchen. I feel like your palate is probably way better than mine, at least in identifying flavors and different, ingredients. So for me, Jasper, I kind of just view it as its own thing. But, I think DR is very much of the, you know, kind of pair it together. I think Brits too a little bit, but I kind of just go rogue.
Yeah, well, I think it just seems to me like what you guys are saying about this decoy of like, yeah, it's fine. So if you're having a dinner and you want to be drinking wine in general, like this is a fine wine for that. I mean, feel free, like that's what I'm picking up.
Not going to get.
I think if you want to have wine with dinner, you should have whatever wine you like with whatever it is that you're eating. It doesn't matter, you know. We hear a lot of people will say that, you know, you should pair a cab with a big steak, but if you like cab, it doesn't matter what you're having, just drink the cab. I like how wines interact with food, so I'm always curious to see how chefs, when they're designing that menu, how they pair the flavor profiles and how they complement and interact.
Yeah.
But if I'm somewhere and I've got two choices, you know, and my plate is fish and it's between some white wine that I don't like and some red wine that I do, I'm gonna have a red. You know, it's just.
But Jasper, to your point, for instance, my brother-in-law is from Virginia, so my sister-in-law and brother-in-law lived out there for a while, and so out there they do like an indigenous American grape, the Nortons. I don't know. Have you guys ever tried the Norton wine? I mean, it's very much like an East Coast thing. It's one of the first wines that they started cultivating, I think, when they started making wine in the New World, but it is heavy, it is dry, and so we cracked one open one time and we tried to sip, and it was like drinking dust almost. You know, it was just so heavy, so dry, and it just wasn't right. But then we paired that with a steak, and it was an epiphany. It was a whole new flavor profile on it. So I think there's definitely cases of both of those things where there's no one answer to everything, but with something like that changed the whole flavor profile for the wine when I paired it with the right thing.
Well, do you, Steve, I know you were there. Segi, I'm trying to remember if you were there. I think DR was out for this one, but when we were at Chimarosa,
Yes.
do you remember the
cheeses and the salamis? Yeah,
that
was
amazing.
insane.
I mean, very noticeable difference in your appreciation of each wine when it was paired with the correct meat and cheese. I mean, and that incredible olive oil, which I still have.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
I've
still got some too.
That's not the kind of olive oil that you put in the pasta water. That is the kind that you dip and
drink.
Shooters.
What would you pair that with, Segi?
Cab. But yeah, I think the reason I kind of keep it its own thing is because I don't have the skill set or experience level to pull out a wine and be like, oh, this aged Parmesan from so-and-so region of so-and-so really brings out, like, I don't have those capabilities at home myself. It is really amazing to be walked through that with those people that do have those capabilities and that level of education and knowledge. Like, that makes it way, way more fun.
Don't get it twisted, say, if I'm taking a bottle of wine to a restaurant, I do a lot of Googling on flavor pairings before I pick out a bottle, particularly if it's a wine that I'm not familiar with, like an Italian wine. So I Google a lot.
Well, that's why I think one of my favorite days that we've ever had, like on the road together. I know Brits. I'm trying to remember who else was there, because that day we were in France. We had the off day, and we just went. And that wine shop
Chateau.
Was that what it was? That was
Chateau,
ridiculous. Everybody who worked there was Canadian. They were all French Canadians, so they spoke French, spoke perfect English, and like just walked us through the varietals of each different place, and like the Languedocs that I'd never really had before, and just like that kind of old world minerality. It was when you get those knowledgeable people who can just explain every last thing, and some of it may be the power of suggestion, but you taste everything that they're mentioning, and just again, that was amazing.
Chateau Lagarde.
Yeah,
that was one of our favorites from that. I remember, Steve, we went out to dinner that night, a bunch of us. I remember we were at that restaurant, and it was like we found a Languedoc for like €12, and we were like, let's get like 5 of these. And we just kept crushing them at the table at dinner. It was amazing.
Well, and also that dinner,
that poulet pot or whatever, the chicken pot place.
it was a different place. Yeah, poulet pot is just ridiculous. But I remember I ordered something and it came out. It was a ball of raw meat, and I was like, "Oh gosh,
Our show spot. That was our. I was thinking about this. I'm not kidding you. Either a day or 2 ago, and I was sitting there thinking about how amazing that was that we had multiple weeks in Paris where we were basically living in Paris, and
it was amazing.
It was incredible. Just going and going to different restaurants and trying different food every night after the show. We would go to that restaurant. Food was questionable, but we'd go have some wine and we have some cheese, and it was just a blast, man.
You don't like raw burgers?
That's one of the few times I have not finished a plate of food. I was just like, I can't eat more raw meat. It's just, this isn't going to end well.
That was a good time. Jasper, you would have liked this.
We'll get back.
I'm sure I would have.
Back.
Yeah, man. Can't wait.
It was a good hang. And that's the amazing thing, just quickly on Old World before we wrap things up, is that when you're in Europe, the price points for really wonderful wines are it's just dramatically more affordable. I mean, we would pick up bottles of really great wine for €10, €12, and just enjoy them. I mean, every night backstage we had cheese and wine and bread, and that was the backstage catering, and you wouldn't find happier people.
That was my dinner most nights.
The suits were a little tighter going into the rest of the European tour.
There was like a small little grocery store across the street from where we were staying. Go there every afternoon and get baguettes, some kind of cured meat, some cheese, and a bottle of wine, and be like €10, and that was dinner.
Yeah. Well, that was my first experience with it in 2002 when I got on the cruise ship, and we got on in Saint Nazaire, France, where we just were for talking with the celebrity folks. We were in dry dock for like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And so we'd walk into town, you get a bottle of Bordeaux. Back then it was like €3. It was insane. And it was the best wine I'd ever had in my life. Of course, I was like 23 or 24, but yeah, it was the best wine I'd ever had in my life. I was like, this is cheaper than the water.
Did you happen to see my phone when you were walking around over there?
I didn't. I didn't get in the time machine. If I had.
Well, he also wasn't walking on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, well,
Love it. Well, I think that's a good way to end with a fun story. I think tying up the Decoy, it's not going to get in the way of any food pairing. For the money, it's definitely worth purchasing. I think the overall consensus is that you can probably find more dynamic wines in this price range than this, but you're not going to be mad if you grab it.
I'd say, yeah, a buttery fish or buttery chicken. It'll go nice with that acid. They'll cut together.
Or put it in the freezer, cool it down, and have a glass on a hot summer day.
Yeah. Awesome. Gentlemen,
Jasper, thank you guys for joining us.
it was a
Thanks for having
pleasure.
us, man.
Thanks for letting us hop in.
If
We'll
you
do
guys,
another one.
If you guys are game, we'd love to have you on when we do some other tastings as well. I think that'd be fun. So
Sure. Hey, let me know when you go to the black box. I've got like one in the fridge.
You know it.
At all times.
You can't afford,
Yeah, anytime.
these days I can't afford not to.
Yeah.
That's true. You know what? That's not a bad idea, actually, to just do one.
Actually,
Where we have 2 wines, do a box wine and like another, just something else.
I'm just saying the black box Sauvignon Blanc, not terrible. Not terrible.
dude, the Target,
I like the Pinot.
Yeah.
the Target box stuff isn't bad. It's definitely drinkable. It's I would have no problem drinking it.
That's what
We got to
that's
say
what you should do.
And I know a guy who's kind of
it for the
unemployed right
next
now.
episode.
I know several.
started to say anytime I have literally nothing else on my schedule.
Says the guy who was late.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Hey,
Good
see
talking
y'all.
to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Loved you in Stranger Things.